Another one that is
Nice.
out in theaters in case you didn't want disgusting and you wanted horror instead. The family friendly ride from Disney has returned with another movie. There are more Disney theme park ride adaptations than there are, I don't know, whatever else you may want adapted toys. Look, I am a sucker for this kind of genre. I don't think it's the worst. I haven't loved all of them. You know that you have your Tomorrowlands, but then you have your Pirates of the Caribbean, and I don't think anything has touched the original Pirates. I know that the franchise ended up becoming like so, the third one ended up becoming the most expensive movie ever made, and then was also like the most highest grossing movie ever made. So I understand why they're always trying to make these a thing, because it's like this full circle. You watch the movie, it makes a buttload of money. You buy it on DVD. They got stuff to sell. You go to the theme park.
Yeah.
They already tried it with Haunted Mansion,
20
and
years ago.
this is a remake of the Eddie Murphy one, and it doesn't
Is
fix
it
what I think they were trying to. Or sorry, not a remake, but like they're remaking it. It's another
reimagining?
adaptation, reboot. It's
Yeah.
a theme park ride
It's
movie.
a
Zach,
it's a re-movie.
what did you think?
Look, I mean, I said this in my Letterboxd review. If this was a Disney Channel original movie and this was the year 2003, I feel like it'd be a pretty solidly entertaining thing. But because of
not
the year we're
2003.
the year we're in, this movie costs like $50 million more to make than Oppenheimer did, and it's got like a bunch
What's the
of
budget?
man, the budget's
the
like
budget?
150 million.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Oh, the
And
12-track
it do-
digital sound. That's why.
and it doesn't look that good, and
Shee!
like there's some
Woo-hoo!
celebrities, but it's not exactly like it's
Ooh.
star-studded. Like I love Lakeith Stanfield and Owen
For
Wilson,
sure.
but are they each getting $20 million to appear in this thing? Like I'm not.
No, Jared Leto is for covering his face.
I don't really get it. You know, it's like it's inoffensive enough. Like there's jokes in it, and none of them are ones that I can like easily remember because they're all jokes that have been recycled from other better things. But you know, if you're like a little kid, that you probably don't know that it's a bunch of recycled stuff. There's just there's a little bit of slapsticky humor, and personally, I think the movie could be good if you are like the father to or the uncle of a kid who has a mild interest in scary things. If you want to take your child to their first horror movie, you could do worse than Haunted Mansion.
For sure.
But there's nothing there for an adult. There's just no depth to anything. It's all on the surface. It's all a retread of other familiar ideas. You know, maybe if you're like a big Tiffany Haddish fan, she's kind of fun in this movie. I just don't see other reasons to go other than like you need something to babysit a child with.
I didn't hate the movie,
Yeah.
but I do agree with you. It doesn't commit all the way as much as it could. But in the sense of it being that gateway horror movie for kids, sure.
Yeah.
It is definitely scarier than the first one. Not by a lot, but it is more on the scary side. It does have its jokes. You had mentioned Tiffany Haddish. I would argue I needed more Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, I think, has a standout punchline.
Look, if there was more Danny DeVito in this thing, I might recommend it, but
Exactly. I agree with you. They almost tried to kick him out of the movie. I was like, no, 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 no. I came here for one person only. I didn't even get to mention that they gave us a couple of these cards. I'm sorry, Zach. They really do give us these, like,
No, we got those
I guess
too.
what are supposed to be cards. Who'd you get? Please don't tell me you got Danny DeVito. I was going to go back and return mine for
I got my man's from the Underground Railroad, which was a weird thing
Same,
to have in
I got
my
him
head
too,
while
bro.
watching it.
I had him too. I think Alita got Tiffany Haddish. I ended up getting him. But, yeah. I like the back. They were kind of decent for what they were.
Yeah. Caitlin, who'd you get? Did you get
the movie...
Lakeith? Yeah. Caitlin got Lakeith.
Oh, she got Lakeith. Well, let me talk about Lakeith in this movie because I know this was a script that was floating around, and in particular, this came from Justin Simeon, who I don't mind. I realize the man tries to be a provocateur more than anything. You know,
Yeah.
I've sat and I've enjoyed the stories that he's tried to tell, and I've realized, okay, you got a pattern here. You like to lead in a certain way. Oh, show the Lakeith one. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey.
It's a little out
You
of
know, he
focus
looked
if I get
clean
closer
the
to the
whole
camera,
movie.
but yeah,
He looked clean the whole
great.
movie.
Good
Only to
looking man.
realize He had a hairpiece the entire time, and he got to keep it. So shout out to him, I guess, there. But speaking of, Bad Hair was a horror movie that Justin Simeon had done at Sundance a couple years ago. I enjoyed it. I wanted him to get, clean up some of the effects. They did not clean up some of the effects. It is now up on Hulu, completely out. He got the money for Haunted Mansion, and I know that his big approach here was the story of Lakeith Stanfield's character who begins the film losing a loved one. So there's this big idea of grief. And I had heard people discussing that there was this whole push for the ride to get rid of the noose man when you're going through the hallways or something, or maybe when you're already seated. There's a guy who kills himself on the ride, and they're like, I don't know if we should have this on the ride. This whole movie is about taking your life. This is a man who has no more will to live, right? You also have other characters who are dealing with their own grief, and there's this undercurrent of who is the one who no longer wants to be here. You're dealing with these ghosts who don't know how to move on because they still have something, that they're clinging on to before the afterlife. I do like that storyline you were kind of mentioning about, if you're an uncle or I don't know, a stepdad or some sort of this idea of using the grief and pain that you have to help somebody else instead of you just wallowing in it.
Yeah.
And I like that. The only problem I have with it is that I want Lakeith in more of these leading roles, and that's why y'all cast him. But don't make him a character that he's not. He's got this, I don't want to say the word quirkiness, but he's got this different type of energy to him, and they're kind of peeling him back to be the guy who's just trying to make it, the business dude. And I'm like,
you're completely right. They cast him as this very sincere, earnest guy. He's he doesn't bullshit people, and he's very heartfelt. He sees Rosario Dawson's character is going through a hard time, and just immediately launches into a heart to heart with her, and it just sort of feels. It feels inauthentic to the performer that we've come to know as Lakeith Stanfield, and even through some of the personal stuff, seeing him in interviews and stuff, he's kind of offbeat. He's a little bit hard to predict.
That's a better one.
And to cast him as this very straight edge, run of the mill kind of guy also mutes the things that make him so interesting to watch as a performer.
And that's the best way to put it, because you had mentioned sincere and earnest. You can still have those in the type of character that he's played in the past. To think you need to make him a straight edge dude, you're kind of losing the point. You don't want him to be typecast, but then you're you're forming him into something else. I think we could have had that off-kiltered character who you mentioned, and it would have worked better. I think they would have made better connections than him trying to, I don't know, be in this mainstream type movie. Rosario fits that well. Tiffany does her thing. The addition of Owen Wilson in here definitely made me look at them as a group of characters who would never, ever hang out together. And if you watch Tiffany Haddish and obviously the big cameo in this movie, which is not even a cameo, I would say she's a whole guest side, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Dude, their interviews are the funniest thing. Because obviously she never wants to come off as a Nepo baby. There's this one I got to send you. Where they ask her, what ghost, you met a lot of celebrities when you were a kid. Who do you wish you could talk to again? And Jamie Lee Curtis is like, I know whatever came through my house. I don't know anybody. And Tiffany.
I'm very normal.
I'm a very normal person. And Tiffany, who knows not how should I say this, keep a story to herself, goes, nah, but you told us during on set how you would have these people who would come over and there was a red carpet that was going up to your set. And the look that this woman gives Tiffany Haddish, Tiffany just goes, I'm sorry, I'm being a snitch, I'll be quiet now. Their whole press run together is funnier than the banter that they have in the film. You have a lot of cameos that happen towards the second half of the movie as well, that again don't help really build up the emotional story, but I guess are still there. Jared Leto as the villain
is in it,
I guess.
Kind of.
Not even know.
Really. This is another one of those things that I completely don't understand why a movie would spend their money this way. In that, first of all, are people going because Jared Leto's name is attached to it? Second, how do those people feel when his face is completely covered and his voice is even this weird, ghostly, feels like it's been manipulated in post kind of thing where it's not even recognizably Jared Leto in any way. So why even bother with a celebrity?
Zach, he was at Lollapalooza this weekend. I got to see him for a little bit.
Hey.
And as soon as I left, I heard he climbed the scaffolding. So this must be the tamest role he's had as a dead manor owner who was kind of ostracized by his family. I agree with you. What is the point of it? I don't know, but he's there. That's probably where the budget went. Other than that, I guess the best thing I can give this movie is that the effects were kind of decent. They play a lot with the Easter eggs of the ride, and they put them within there, be it certain quotes. Let me move this bucket this way before I start thinking I'm in a haunted mansion. They do the like hallway stretching scene. There's a bit when you're in a chair, and it kind of looks like the chair in the ride, and they kind of take you. They like physically pushed them out. It looked like it was a mixture of practical and CG. It looked cool.
I haven't been on the ride in years and years and years and years.
Oh,
Did you like recognize a lot of elements from it?
Yeah, I felt like such a nerd, dude. From the wallpaper and certain lines that were
Disney
said.
adult.
Yeah. Yeah, you could tell they were nerding out with that. But then at the same time, like how is that going to help your movie? Is that really why you guys remade it? To like have a reference to the ride? Again, I think this in 40X would have been kind of decent now that I think about it.
Maybe they'll just show it when you go on the ride in the future.
When you're waiting in the freaking hour and a half line? Yeah. You'll miss the last 30 minutes.
That's
because
the runtime, right?
2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours is a little too much in my opinion for this film.
Yeah, getting this the week after Barbie, you really feel the bloat, the Disney bloat on this one. Like, why can we get a like hard-hitting, hilarious, beautifully designed world in Barbie in 15 fewer minutes than this movie?
And then Chase said it right here. At least Baskin-Robbins helped paid out with the budget. It would have been 30 minutes shorter if they cut all of Tiffany Haddish's ads. The Burger King one, the Staples one.
Wait, so I want to talk about this because a lot of people
They're
are saying
ads.
like all of this is product. I don't think all of this is product.
I think
placement.
every single one is product placement, and I think
the
that
one
if you're
where she
going,
says she's going to cancel her Amazon is product placement.
yes, 100%. Did you not just see what
No.
Mattel did? Bro, you just sat for a Mattel movie where they called their number one action figure a fascist.
Yeah, but that's different. That's a good movie. For a like offhand line, I just don't think that companies are paying out for that. Some of them, yes. I'm not saying that. Like Burger King absolutely paid to be in this movie and make sure that they don't just have tater tots, they also have jalapeno poppers. But I think that like the Zillow line,
Yankee Candle.
is just like them not being very clever and hoping, oh, I recognize that thing, will substitute for a joke.
8 times, Zach.
I'm not saying every single one, but I also don't think every single one was paid for at all.
I have an interview with Tiffany Haddish talking about how she tried to get her Groupon one in there as well. And that's the only one that couldn't make the cut. So I am standing that it is an ad, or it's like, when YouTubers are like, I'm not sponsored, but if they want to sponsor me, sponsor me. It's that in a 2-hour movie. Either way, I could have used without any of them. But that is Haunted Mansion, the newest movie. I kind of have it equal to the original. I caught the original one with Eddie Murphy as well, because I remember kind of liking it. It's fine, dude. It's fine. I can't say you grow up older and like it anymore. You might have some jokes that stand out a little bit more for you. It's at least 90 minutes and not pushing, over 2 hours. I kind of
want to start the Haunted Mansion 2003 redemption campaign here? It's a unheralded classic.
Nah, I'm straight. I'll pick another Eddie Murphy movie, but I would compare the two. I don't know if you like one more than the other, or what you would rate this movie at the end.
I don't remember the Eddie Murphy one well enough to like give you like a very fair comparison, but I remember not really liking it and finding this one. Yeah, I found this one decent. I think if I was the same age I was when I watched the Eddie Murphy one, I'd probably like this one a little more.
Yeah, if you're a kid, you'd enjoy it. But like Zach said, if you're an adult, the story is there, but the depth isn't, because it's cut out by a Yankee Candle ad. But that is Haunted Mansion. If you're curious to catch that, it is like already out of Dolby theaters because it was fighting between TMNT and the Meg.